Welcome everyone to this week's Skippy Track Guide, last in the season. This season seemed to have flown past, but here we are at week 12 and last chance to get some safety rating and IR before the treacherous week 13. And we're at Longbreach, which is not going to be good because it's nice and close and there's a lot of walls and it has the worst corner in iRacing, which is the last turn. So yeah, make sure you look after your safety rating before going before doing this race, especially with week 13 just popping its head around the corner as well. Anyway, let's crack on with it. I will show the info of the track first. So we're 82 Fahrenheit degrees will be above my head, and we've got a track usage of 43%, which is a bit close to what we should be expecting in race conditions, as it should be around 50%. So the lap I'm going to show you is lap number 9, which is a 132.948. Had a few little two mistakes that I can recall off the top of my head, but I'll mention them in the guide as we go past. Not really mistakes, just areas of improvement, let's say. And the last corner was treacherous for me in a practice session because I did this. So try and avoid cutting that corner back for a late apex because there's a weird glitchy bumpy thing there that the Skippy did not like at all. If you do want to practice before this comes an official race session, this is how I get into these sessions. Quite straightforward using the iRacing UI, which is really handy. Otherwise, I think that is everything. Setup will be down in the description, so go check out that if you need it. It's pretty basic, pretty standard for everything. Otherwise, guys, that's enough waffling. Let's crack on with it. Right, over the start-finish line and a fairly decent run down turn 1. You should get some good slipstream if you are behind the leader. Leader is definitely the wrong place to be down here. And we're trying to spot our braking marker, and mine is the 300 board, as you can see it coming up, or the end of the white line. Remember, if you cross this red line a bit too much, it is a horrible slowdown. So just stick a tyre over it just to be safe. Down into second gear, I've been finding that gives us a bit more rotation through here. You can take a little bit more curb. I found it unsettled the car too much. As you see, I do come perilously close to this first wall here. Around this kind of kink, it's not a turn, doesn't classify one apparently, and as soon as we see turn 2 we head straight line for it, and the braking point is the yellow line. As we cross it we are standing on the brakes. Down in a second, turn left as much as you can to open up turn 3. I'm classifying this as turn 3. I think the iRacing map says this is turn 3, this horrible wall that juts out here. Be careful, that is a real pain in the ass. The foliage in front of the water fountain there, you can go through it, you will get a slowdown, so you can do it to avoid carnage. Coming into turn 4 and the advertisement on the concrete wall here, we are lifting off, a little dab of brakes, tiniest amount of brakes, bit more on cold tyres. We're turning in, taking a good chunk of curb. Again, not too much because we can fly over to the left hand side and have a nasty date with that wall, which is a real pain in the rear. Coming up to turn 5, now this is a cheeky little rascal. Just as the tarmac changes colour or the advertisements on the left hand side, standing on the brakes, and you kind of want to get the car in a straight line because it crests just there and it really upsettles the rear of the car. I also found that the sausage curb things are really awkward to hit. I was spinning out quite a few times as well, so really quite a tricky corner to get right, and it is lead on to a straight, so it is relatively important. Yeah, very close again to the wall on the left hand side, and we are making a direct beeline for this green sign you can see in the distance just behind that palm tree. It's going to be a decent overtaking opportunity, I think. Down here it's quite a wide entry, tight corner left hander here into another wide bit of track. This is actually where one of the mistakes I made, or room for improvement I should say. Green mark, down into second gear, try and brake in a straight line best we can. Annoyingly the wall disappears inwards. Turn it in, we do clip a little bit of curb, but be careful of the wall, it's very close to the apex. Now I've been finding if you take a little less speed on the apex of this corner, you don't run wide as much and you get a straighter line. You can see I'm using all of the track, and I was finding if you stay over on the left hand side of this red line by my left wheel and then dart straight over to the left hand side, you actually get there quicker. So food for thought on that one. Just bear that in mind if you are struggling with lap time. Just try and take a slower entry into that turn 6. Coming down now to turn 8, and we're braking at the 200 meter board. We're only going to drop it down 1 gear, I believe, into second. There she goes. And we can absolutely cut this, but be careful after apex because the wall does jut out. You can see it there, and I have to undo the steering angle just to avoid it. Get on power as early as we can. This is by far the best opportunity for overtaking that we've seen since the start-finish line down to turn 1. Really long, decent straight this into a relatively decent heavy braking zone as well. So prepare for carnage if you are watching people battling ahead. We are aiming for the 300 board. Just before we get to it, we're standing on the brakes. And this is where the second room for improvement is. We're actually staying third. Really, we want second. Avoid the sausage curbs. I found it really unsettles the Skippy again, but try and get a nice late apex and straight line the exit. You can hear on the full pace lap that are to follow after this, the engine is a bit sluggish here, so second would be a better gear. This corner now turns 10 leading into 11. I wouldn't worry about too much for braking. It's just a lift and just basically keeping it nice and tight on the way around. It is a pain in the rear end, and all we're doing is trying to set up turn 11, which is horrible. I really can't stand it. As the curb straightens up, that's where we're braking the car, and we're also changing down in the first. Get as far left as you can and don't turn in too early. As you saw on the intro, we had a really horrible bump on the curve there, so I avoid that completely. Get on full throttle as early as you can, and yeah, try and avoid the wall on the left. First lap, be very cautious through there. It will be absolute carnage, so you have been warned. And then another long blast to the line. Now, it's actually quite a long blast because you might actually be able to slipstream past here. Not sure if it's that long, but we'll soon find out on race day. And there we go, across the line with a 1:32.948. So, interesting lap. Definitely going to be a lot of carnage. Thank you to iRacing for putting this on week 12 when we might get demoted in week 13. I think that was strategic planning from them. I'm only kidding. Really, we should be able to get around there. Not too much trouble. Just take it easy. I think it'll be a survival race more than anything. Otherwise, let me know how you get along. And the full speed cockpit and chase cam are to follow. Do all of them lovely YouTube things that you hear everyone else waffle on about. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one.